Bang, we're recording. Now we're going to start the slideshow. Perfect. Well, again, welcome everybody. And I certainly appreciate your time tonight. For me, it's funny. I kind of went through my little checklist before the call. Let's see. Sunny Fresh for the voice, check. Top Focus for the brain, check. Vita Spray for the nerves, check. So I got them all down, and hopefully I'll be able to make some sense tonight, because compensation plans aren't the easiest things to talk about, okay? But I will do my best to make this simple. And again, what we're gonna go through is just the basics. I'm not gonna cover all the bonuses. Just wanted to give everybody a sense for what I see out of the Infinity compensation plan. And obviously we will talk some at the end about the process for getting from where we are today to where we wanna be tomorrow. With that said, I figured the best thing I could do for the first slide is to put a picture of the compensation plan brochure up here. And again, I kind of put this note up here tongue in cheek about the pretty colors, but I can remember when I first looked at this chart, I'm going 14 ranks, 9 bonuses, and wow, there's a lot of pretty colors, but what am I looking at, you know? And again, I don't know if any of you felt the same way when you first looked at the brochure, but it can be a little confusing. And what certainly helped me was more so looking at a slide like this, because what it really showed me is that of the 14 ranks, you know, they all grow upon each other. So we start as an IBO and we grow to the star ranks, and there's 3 of those, and you get these 4 bonuses that you can earn. So then you're growing into the ace ranks, of which there's 4 of those. I think I said 4. There's 3 of the star, 4 in ace, and you still earn the star bonuses, but now you got 2 more that are associated with the ace ranks. Same thing with hero. You earn the star bonuses, the ace bonuses, and 2 more at hero. Icon, you can see the same thing. They build upon each other. And there's a couple of other things that I think are important here before we move on, and that is, for those of us, most of us, I think, on the call that were part of Sunwriter for years, we were familiar with previous compensation plans, which had a thing called a breakaway. And what that really meant is once somebody in your group reached a certain level, they would break away from you and they would be doing their own thing, and you wouldn't get paid quite the same way on their volumes. Well, there is no breakaway in the Infinity compensation plan. As you grow in leadership, as you can see, you start to earn things like this wonderful thing called check match and turbo infinity. And without going into a lot of detail, I will share with everybody that when I look at my check every month, my 3 biggest bonuses in order are the unilevel bonus, which we'll talk about in a minute, my retail sales bonus, which we'll talk about in a minute, and the one that works very closely with unilevel is the check match. So again, we really want to strive, each of us, towards moving up the various ranks. And, you know, again, just a quick little personal note, when I first saw the slide and I was looking at all the ranks, I was a little bit overwhelmed. But what kind of got me back on track is I started thinking, okay, well, look, I'm involved in the martial arts, and when you start as a white belt, there are 10 ranks you go through before you make it to black belt. And each of those have their own separate requirements, which are kind of the stepping stones to success. And I'm going to go back, but that's really kind of how I see these ranks. Again, these are the stepping stones from IBO through star, through the ace ranks, to the hero ranks, and ultimately up to the icon, all building on top of each other in terms of the bonuses. So where do we go from here? All right. A lot of questions I've received over the last year and a half since this thing has been out is, this is one that comes up quite often. I see on the price list, and when I place my orders, a reference to these 2 terms, CV and QV. What the heck are they? Okay. These are terms that were developed by the people that put together this plan for Sunwriter on how we can maintain consistent QV, which is qualifying value, around the world when you're dealing with various currencies. And again, very quickly, CV is commissionable value. It's assigned to each product, and it's how commissions are paid. And it is very currency specific in the country where the order is placed. Qualifying volume, or QV, on the other hand, is the value on a product that's applied towards your qualification. So again, I'm going to go back real quick. You can see up here on the chart, okay, every single rank has a qualification for PV and DV. Those are the qualifications I'm talking about. So again, when you're placing your order, the little tip down here at the bottom, and you're doing so because you want to make sure you meet a specific rank qualification, okay? Focus on your QV because that's what plays in to the rank determination. An example, let's just say, okay, I'm wanting to be an Ace Royal this month. I've got my 4 builder legs. I've got my 10,000 in DV, but I've only got, let's say, 750 out of the 800 PV I need to meet that particular rank requirement. So I know I can place a personal order to get that up a little bit higher. When I'm placing my order, I know that I need to look at the QV and make sure that QV is at least 50 or more with the order I place to make sure I can get from that 750 up to 800. So again, that's what CV and QV is all about. I hope that wasn't too confusing of an explanation, but this will all tie in together as we move forward. And here's a good example of that, by the way, that I just wanted to share with everybody. We see the same Fortune Delight being sold in the US as it is in Hungary. And this was back a year ago, so the price is a little bit different now, but not much. But bottom line, it shows you the price in the US was at that time $10.20. In Hungary, it was 2,746 forints, all right? But what's important here is you'll notice that the commissionable value on each of those sales were relative to the price paid, but the QV was the same. So again, the QV is how we maintain a consistent qualifying value around the world when we're dealing with various currencies. So that's really why we came up with those two things we look at each month. So again, each rank has an associated PV, DV, maximum volume rule, and structure requirement. And again, let's look at this chart real quick. Starting from IBO, working all the way across to Icon Royal, you're going to see each of those ranks has a PV requirement, a DV requirement, a maximum volume rule requirement, and a structure requirement, okay? I want to now talk a little bit about each of those things, which is where this next slide came from. In my personal view, there's really 4 keys to understanding this compensation plan. It's understanding the PV and how we're paid on it, the DV, how we're paid on it, and these other 2 things called the maximum volume rule and structure. So let's start with PV. Okay, PV translates to personal volume. What does that mean? Okay, it means it's all of our personal orders we place in a month, as well as all of our preferred customers and our retail customers that make up our group. So that's where this little part of the picture came in blue. It's me, my personal purchases, plus all of the purchases of my retail and preferred customers in my group. Okay, how were we paid on that? We're paid on that through the retail sales bonus, which I'll talk about in a second. Okay, so what's DV by comparison? That's my downline volume. And what DV is in red here is all of the IBO orders that make up my organization, first, second, third, fourth, fifth level, okay, as we've been to sponsor and we build in depth with IBOs. That is where the DV total comes from, and we're paid on that in the unilevel bonus. And again, you know, one of the reasons that my unilevel bonus is so large every month is because we've followed the rules of building in width and securing in depth. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. But again, there are several bonuses you earn as you grow in rank. But what I'd really like to focus on now are these 4 keys, plus the retail sales in the unilevel bonus. The first one, the retail sales bonus. Again, it pays us on our PV, which is a combination of our personal purchases plus those of our PCs and our retail customers. Here's the chart that's currently in place. And one of the things I love so much about this bonus is that if you build a lot of customers into your group, okay, this is the column you want to focus on, because remember, the customer, a retail customer, is paying 15% more in a retail price than we are as IBOs. So if I've got a customer in my personal group and they're paying the retail price, I'm earning 15% right there because they're paying more. Plus, as I grow my PV, I always focus for 5,000 and more. That's what I go for every month. I'm earning a full 15% through this bonus on top of all of that volume. And again, I just want to clarify a couple of things. Within the power of four, the 8 steps, I should say, the very first step of the 8 steps to success is personal use. And we encourage everybody, and for any of you that have seen a power of four presentation from myself or from Bob, you've seen this. We encourage everybody in that power of four to start using at least $200 a month, switching the brands to superior Sunwriter products. This is how all this begins. The second step in this 8 critical steps is sponsoring customers. And that's what really ties into this chart here. What I always encourage people to do when they're starting out in following those 8 key steps is follow what we've said. Do number 1, switch your brand, start consuming personally yourself for so many reasons, not the least of which is develop your own Sunwriter testimony. You have experience with the products and you can share with integrity. Start talking to people and building your customer base, because again, guys, when you look at the bonus percentages, this is the highest bonus percentage of any bonus through the entire plan. So it's really, really a great thing when you can build up your personal group with retail and preferred customers, because you can make a lot of money just by sharing with others these incredible products that we all know and love. Now, there are a couple of tips I wanted to share regarding this bonus as well. The first one is, like with the old plans, a lot of us, I get questions all the time. Well, Mac, I remember in the old plan, I used to have to do my minimum each month, whatever it was, $200, $150, whatever it was based on the comp plan. With the Infinity Comp Plan, there are no personal order requirements each month. So if your PV is coming from your retail customers and your preferred customers, theoretically, you don't have to place an order. Now, again, I would encourage you all, because it's step 1 of the 8, to make sure that you are ordering each and every month. But the fact is, if your goal is Ace Royal and that requires 800 in PV, and you're getting all of that from your retail and preferred customers, again, theoretically, you do not have to place an order that month yourself. The other tip I always share with people, and it's one of these kind of cut off my nose to spite my face, which is a terrible expression, by the way, I apologize, kind of tips is, if I've got an IBO in my group and they're just starting, okay, so it's basically just their personal order that they're dealing with, I suggest to them that instead of placing a $250 order in month 1 and doing that again in month 2, that they wait until month 2 when they can place a $500 order, so at least they're earning 5% back as a retail sales bonus, okay? Those are my tips on the retail sales bonus. Let's talk a little bit about Unilevel. Unilevel bonus pays us on all of our IB orders in our group in depth. And that's what I was talking about on those previous slides a few ago. Again, all of your IBOs that you sponsor underneath you, all of the IBOs that they sponsor underneath them, all of the IBOs sponsored underneath them, make up your DV, your downline volume, which is how you're paid on that is through the Unilevel bonus. This is just a short example. It only goes through the star ranks, but we'll bring up the whole chart again and I'll reemphasize this. But as you can see, okay, you're sponsoring IBOs on the first level, you're a star prime, you're gonna earn 7% on that volume. You grow in rank to star elite, now you're earning 9% on their volume, and if they've sponsored underneath them, you're gonna earn 2% on the IBOs underneath them. You can see this is a stair-step bonus. As you go down in level, the bonus goes down, but you are earning something all along the way on all of the IBOs in your group. And again, it ties right back into the 8 steps. Step number 3 is show the power of 4 and sponsor your IBOs. These are where your rising stars are going to come from, and this is the bonus and how you get paid on their volume. So again, retail sales bonus pays us on our PV. Unilevel bonus pays us on our DV, which is all of our IBO downline volume. The next thing in those 4 keys I talked about is the maximum volume rule, and the 4th one is structure. I wanted to put this slide up here because if there's truly a confusing part to the plan, this is where it comes in for most people. And quite honestly, everyone, I spend a lot of the last week of every month working with our leaders and people in depth, making sure that their volume is where it needs to be, that they understand this particular rule. And again, the reason that this is in the Infinity Plan is because it's all about the strength and stability of your group. A great example, a single leg on your chair is not stable. It takes four strong legs for a chair to be stable. It's the same for our organization, which keeps coming back to find your four builder legs. It's all power of four, okay? So a quick example of how this works. This is based on a Star Elite. And for a Star Elite, the requirements are 1,800 in DV, and because of the max volume rule, it says you can only count 900 per leg. So this correct example, let's go through it. So this is me. I do my 400 PV for the month. I've met that requirement. I've got two IBOs underneath me. One of them has a group with 1,000 DV. The other has a group with 500. Why is this a correct example? Because it only says 900 per leg. Well, 400 from me, 500 from this one, 900 from this one, 1,800, I've met the requirements. All right, then why doesn't this one work over here? Let's go through it. 400 from me, 100 from here, and I can only count 900 from this one. So now I'm sitting at 1,400. I did not meet the 1,800 DV requirement, so I'm not a Star Elite this month. I can't tell you over the past 20 years how many times I've worked with leaders that just have built a single leg, okay? Kind of a one leg group, if you will. The problem with that is, you know, it may be fine for a long period of time, but can you imagine what would happen if something happened to that individual right there? All of a sudden, all of this volume here could potentially go away. And now you're kind of sitting back at Star or IBO level simply because you only built with one leg. You didn't build the security and the structure that you get from building four strong legs minimum. I'm going to go back to the plan here for a minute because I kind of wanted to reemphasize again. Look across the page at all of the ranks. Each of them have their PV, their DV, their max volume rule, which by the way is always 50% of the DV requirement. And then its structure. And the structure we're talking about is when you get to the ACE Royal or the ACE rank and further, ACE requires one builder leg. What's a builder leg? It's an IBO direct to you that's doing at least 1,000 in their group. ACE Prime requires two builder legs. ACE Elite 3, ACE Royal 4. As you go up the chart, you can see how that changes. It becomes a number of builder legs plus ACE Royals. And if you get up here, it's ACE Royals plus Heroes, Hero Elites, Hero Royals. So again, I just wanted to go through that and make sure everybody sees it. And again, this is the full unilevel chart where we only saw part of it before. Again, just reemphasizing the point, as you grow in rank, the unilevel bonus pays you further in depth for all of the people in the IBOs that are in your group. So that's the quick review there. Let's come back. Working with the plan, with the power of four in the 8 steps. I thought this might be a great way just to kind of review a little bit because the first step here is do. Be an example of selling and recruiting. Well, heck, that's the first 3 parts of the 8 steps. Personal use, sponsor customers, and show the power of 4. Number 2, find your rising stars, your IBOs who are actively sponsoring and developing. These are your 4 key builder legs right there. Step number 3, develop. Help your rising stars to advance to the next rank. That's how we help them to find their 4. And part 4 here is overbuild. Don't just do the minimums, overbuild so you have a solid foundation. Back to what I said before, build wide, secure in depth. That's going to create the strongest organization you can possibly have. And again, I'll just share one more personal aside with you guys. I look back over the last 20 years, and one of the reasons through economic changes, political changes, you name it, how many things have impacted our lives over the last 20 years. The reason that our business has stayed so strong and so viable is because, again, this wasn't my quote. This came from one of my first mentors in this business who said, Mac, if you want this thing to be around forever for your kids to inherit, etc., you make sure you keep building in width, but don't just do that. You work in depth. You secure your income by working in depth. And his name was Bob. Bob was absolutely right. That's one thing of his I paid attention to for sure, and he was right on with that thing. So again, pay attention, folks. Build in width, secure it in depth. You'll have a strong and stable organization. Okay, where are we now? Where would we like to be? How do I get there? These are actually forms developed by Sunwriter, but they play right into what Bob, Donna, myself talk about all the time in terms of the 8 critical steps and in the process by which we can achieve what we want. This first one is called the GAP worksheet, and Lisa may have sent it out to some of you from her group. The commitment I'll make is everybody on this call, I'm happy to send these out to. Let's just make sure when we shut this thing down and we're having our Q&A that you guys remind me of that, because these are really valuable sheets. And this GAP one in particular, it's an analysis that I go through myself, okay? And it really makes you think about, okay, what's my current rank? And what are the requirements for that? What's the PV? What's the DV? How many builder legs do I need, etc.? What's the goal I'm shooting for? Again, you may be a star now when you're shooting for Star Elite. This is where you fill it in. What are the rank requirements for the rank you would like to be? And the difference between those two are your gap to your goal rank. Okay, again, it's fairly simplistic. It's obvious once you look at the form where this is going, but it causes you, again, to think about it, to put it on paper, and actually, again, start putting together your action statement, which then leads us over to SMART, which is, it's a goal setting technique or plan to do so. And gosh knows there are 1,000 of them out there. I've used SMART. I've used 20 other different ones. I kind of change it up each year because I like to look at different ways of doing the same thing. But again, this is a very simple one. What does SMART stand for? Be specific, be measurable, be achievable, be realistic, and be time focused. And before I move off of this one, I just want to say, life happens. I get that. It's happened to me so many times when I set my goals. I never change my goal, but I am flexible in terms of the time, because I know things may happen. I may say I want to get to something in 3 months. Well, something's occurred in that 3 months that's preventing me from getting there. I take a look at that. I reset my time frame, but I never change my goal. The other part of this is the action plan. What is it going to take to achieve this next rank requirement you want? And there again is where we set down and we look at the 8 critical steps. Are we reading? Are we watching videos? Are we attending events? Do we have a council? Are we attending association things? And structuring a plan, again, talking to people, sponsoring those customers and preferred customers within that group, looking for those that express an interest in our business, showing the power of 4. What is it going to take to get us from point A to point B? Lisa and I talked about this particular slide as something maybe important that would help you guys in this whole thing. So if any of you have been through a simple interview with Bob Dara or myself, you know, one of the things that we always ask of you is, give me your 3 numbers, okay? What'll help you today? What'll make a difference in your life? And what will actually change your life forever? And that's, again, where this whole gap analysis comes in, because if I'm working with somebody, and they say, well, you know, my number today is if I could make a couple $100 extra a month, that would help me today. Okay, well, what's a number that would really make a difference in your life? And I'm just picking these for myself, but $2,000 would make a big difference. That's a better mortgage payment. It's a different car. It's my kids at school. It allows me to donate to my favorite charity. Okay, what's the number that would change your life? That starts getting into the $20,000+ range. So again, what that helps Bob, myself, all of us do is look, okay, what's the first step? You said your first number was 200. We need to focus on getting you from IBO up to Star Prime or Star Elite. We go back to the gap analysis. We fill in the data. We talk about our goals. We talk about our action plan to get there. Who are your 4 that you're going to work with, etc. And that's how this chart comes into play. Okay, so again, this all is data. It's real numbers, average income by rank, published by Sunwriter. I didn't make any of this stuff up. I just put this column in here dividing by 12 so we can see monthly income averages. So again, great chart to use, which plays right back into these forms and what we're doing with the power of 4 in the 8 key steps. The last kind of thing I wanted to cover, and then we will open it up a little bit for Q&A, is that as we're all working with new people, I think it's important that they understand that in addition to that retail sales bonus and unilevel and understanding what PV and DV and max volume rules and all those things are all about, the most important thing for them, if they want to earn money quickly, is to pay attention to our fast start to fast cash bonus. And what this shows you is if you're an IBO and you're sponsoring a preferred customer and they purchase $100 on auto ship and you have 250 in PV that same month yourself, you're both going to get free product. If they do, you know, a little bit, if you sponsor an IBO and they do 250 PV in that first month, you're both going to get an extra $50 bonus. Underneath here is where it really gets interesting, because again, we want to help people achieve those goals as soon as we can. So if somebody's very active and they can grow to Star Prime in their first full month, everybody gets another 50 bucks. That's a bonus that wasn't there before. If they can grow to Star Elite in their first 3 full months, it's an extra $100. If they can grow to Ace in that period, it's 200, and Ace Prime 350. And again, these are separate bonuses strictly for people that are growing within their first 3 months of joining Sunrider as an IBO. So again, it's a great added incentive for people. That's pretty much it in terms of the PowerPoint. Judy, Lisa, Wendy, I kind of left you guys open to speak if you wanted to, and I'm going to unmute everybody now. That's a lot in, what was it, 30 minutes as promised. Okay, I stuck to the timing.
It was great. It was great.
Are there are there questions about what we covered in the PowerPoint? Is anybody going PV, QV, what the heck, you know? Again, we can touch on some of those things now. And as I said before, if anybody wants to have a separate call where we actually look at your group and see where you are and how to maximize your bonuses, or better yet, let's look at that gap in those smart forms in the action plan, because that's really what's going to take everybody to the next level. Again, I do it myself. It's something I use with Bob Dara as my upline mentor to help keep me on track. So whoever you're working with, Lisa, Judy, you know, Wendy, myself, Bob, anybody in the upline group, we're here to help you to kind of go through this analysis as well and get you where you want to be. So there were.
I think it's.
Go ahead, Wendy.
Oh, I was just going to say, I think it's really important to do those kind of exercises, because it takes it away from just wishful thinking to an action plan. Right. And you know exactly what you need and what you're looking for, and then that helps you to find it.
Exactly. Well, you know, Wendy, to your point, I mean, what's the old saying that everybody knows? A goal without an action plan is nothing more than a wish. So I just reversed what you said, but yeah, that's been the motto out there, you know. And it's okay to wish, but it's better to dream and put together the plan to get there.
I wanted to say that you're recording this.
Yes.
And so this is something that we can send out to the people who didn't get to come, and also the ones that are on, so they can revisit this when they get to that point and they're needing some answers. They can watch this again.
Absolutely. And thank you. That reminded me, I'm going to stop the recording now so we can do a Q&A if anybody has any questions.